She bought an octopus out of curiosity. On the third day, the man who mocked it was found drowned inside his own car, and no one mocked the octopus again. If you like stories that send shivers down your spine, subscribe to the channel, hit like, and share with a friend, but be careful whom you scorn. Emily ignored the vendor's warning. It was a rainy Saturday market, and the patter of stalls made an oddly comforting soundtrack. She spotted the octopus in a makeshift tank as if it were a rare find, small, sharp-eyed, its skin shifting color like a sunset trapped beneath its surface. The seller charged little and murmured, "Take care of it. Some people don't understand." At home, Emily set the tank in the corner of her living room and named him Casper. At night, watching TV, she noticed Casper twisting his body to watch her with an attention that felt more than animal, as if he could read intentions. She laughed softly and pressed a finger to the glass. Casper drifted a tentacle close and touched through the water. The sensation was strange, electric. Friends teased. "You bought an octopus, seriously," they sent, stickers and tentacle emojis filling her phone. Emily uploaded a clip of Casper curling into a decorative shell. The replies joked, "Creepy, like something out of a horror movie." Everything changed the day Emily's co-worker Mark went pale and collapsed in the office, foam at his mouth. News spread, sudden seizure, unknown cause. 3 days later, the neighbor who always mocked the tank was found in her bathtub, water crystal clear, eyes open as if she had seen something not of this world. Patterns formed. Those who mocked the octopus were the first to suffer strange fates. The market vendor vanished without trace. Casper in the tank seemed to grow. At night, the water's surface shimmered with patterns that looked like an ancient script, and Emily began to hear muffled whispers, like bubbles forming words. She tried rational explanations: coincidence, stress, illness. But a weight of guilt tightened in her throat. One night, flipping through an old folklore book she'd bought at an antique stall, she found a passage. Coastal legends spoke of saltkin, beings that punished contempt and demanded reverence for their presence. The ritual was simple: look into them and show respect. Scorn would be swallowed by the water. Emily started watching how Casper changed color when someone approached the tank. Once, while laughing about the octopus to her mother on the phone, sirens wailed in the distance. The call dropped into silence. The next day, there was news of an accident on the road her mother had driven hours earlier. Guilt tightened like chains. Fear hardened into resolve. Emily decided she had to get rid of the creature, not from cruelty, but for survival. Under a moonless sky at the shoreline, she opened the cooler and placed Casper near the ebbing tide. The water in the bag bubbled. He looked at her. On the concrete edge, she whispered the words from the book. Phrases meant to lay the burden down, to ask farewell. Casper moved, not in panic, but with the calm of acceptance. A passing fisherman smiled at the scene and called, "How romantic! You're setting it free." Anger flared in Emily, anger at a world that laughed at what it could not understand. She turned toward the man, contempt on her tongue, and before she could speak, Casper unfurled a tentacle and in an impossibly fast motion wrapped around the fisherman. He did not scream. It was as if the sea itself reclaimed him. His body collapsed, breath gone, eyes fixed on the distant tank that still glimmered. Emily watched, frozen, and for the first time understood. Casper did not merely punish mockery. He answered the hatred directed at him. Contempt was the key. Now the choice lay before Emily. Deny everything and return to the city, letting the cycle continue, or accept in some way the claim the creature made. The book mentioned one more thing: an old pact by which someone might become a guardian, trading a measure of life to bind the power. A volunteer who could look into the being without laughing could seal a truce. Emily lifted her head and met Casper's gaze. What met her was not hatred, but a fearful, wary reverence. A plea for truce. Back home, Emily returned Casper to the tank with trembling hands. She felt suddenly that nothing would ever be the same. The vendor, if he lived, no longer mattered. Emily learned to speak of the octopus without laughing and to allow only those who showed care to visit. Those who scorned were met with looks that made her stomach drop, and soon the next disappearance would appear in the news as a warning. Sometimes at night, Emily pressed her face to the glass and saw, in Casper's shadowed body, something like a crown of shells, not a mark of royalty but a seal. The pact had closed not with thunderous ritual, but with a quiet choice. Emily had traded her old life for vigilance. Now, in the living room where Casper slept in slow waves, she knew she must protect the world from what it could not understand, and that at the slightest flicker of contempt, the sea had its own courts. She still read sometimes the last line of that old book. Respect what you do not understand, or what you do not understand will remember you. Emily closed the book. Outside, the city laughed and moved on. Inside, Casper traced figures on the glass with his tentacles that no one could read. And if you ever see an octopus in a tank that watches too closely, smile. Or if you cannot, at least do not sneer. Please do.